It's 8 p.m. I'm at home and I'm sitting down, seriously thinking to myself, why do I feel so lost? Why do I feel like no matter how much I try to walk this path of connection, I still feel lost? And the thing is, I'm sitting down, wife is in the shower, I run upstairs to the loft, get my journal out, and I'm just in absolute crisis in my mind. I keep asking myself, why can I not commit to one path? Why am I obsessed with trying to build this relationship without following a structure, following a belief system? As I'm sat down in the living room, my body is feeling tense, my head is racing, my mouth is dry, and I'm just sitting there thinking, is this my life? I've got a decent house, I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, but for some reason, it's just not enough. And I keep just asking myself that question over and over again in my mind. What's next? What is next? And this is something I'm constantly thinking about. The idea of ambition versus presence. Definitely something for us to consider and think about. Because this idea of what's next is literally the main cause of the suffering I'm going through in this moment in time. The main issue that I notice that I suffer with is this idea that I hold in my head about the way spirituality is supposed to be. Honestly, it causes me so much psychologically suffering. And when I think about it, I keep trying to figure out, where does this problem come from? It comes from, number one, this has caused me a lot of issue. But not only is it the books I've read, the videos that I've read. And it's ironic, I'm also making a video. But I'm making these videos even with something more for myself to process my own thoughts. Because when I keep thinking about the main issue why I was in this crisis point, is because I just kept on thinking that spirituality, this thing called wholeness, is supposed to be based upon a feeling, a notion, a state. And the issue that I'm noticing is that this expectation is creating a problem for me where I struggle to accept the present moment. It honestly just affects me so much because I sit down and when I experience a state of quiet, a state of contentment, I immediately mistake that for the idea of wanting to be ambitious, which leads to me wanting to do more. And if I'm learning one thing now on this process, on this journey, is that I have to let go of all of the ideas that I hold about what it means to even speak about this idea called wholeness. I have to let it go because me holding on to this idea is creating a situation where it's literally like I am blocking the experience from happening. Because if I don't continuously learn to let go of what I think it means, I'm stopping the experience from happening. And the most ironic thing about this situation is I work as a psychotherapist in my day-to-day job. And when I'm talking to so many different clients on a day-to-day, the main crux of my work is supporting them to be able to accept their reality. If they're experiencing some element of discomfort in relation to their emotions, in relation to their feelings, or an experience about what's happening, I'm constantly trying to support them, edge them closer to understanding that right here in this circle is now. And all of this stuff around it here is the ideas. And the biggest issue that you're going to find on your journey of healing is having to let go of this idea and come into the now which is your present reality. And the irony is the amount of times I have said this to clients, I could not follow this for myself. And this is what sometimes makes me know that I'm still walking the path. I'm still a baby and I'm still trying to learn how this works. Even me, who makes these videos, I struggle with being lost on a regular basis. It's a joke in my relationship that I go through these cycles of feeling like I understand myself, feeling like I understand where I'm at. Then a couple weeks later, a couple months later, I feel lost. One of the things you need to realize is that the ability to be able to acknowledge that you're not feeling 100% on the right path is perfectly okay. I'm in a really good space. I literally feel like I understand everything. And then very quickly, which I notice in myself, I take a dip. And in that dip, I feel confused, I lack motivation, and I question myself obsessively on, am I even walking the right path? When I think about the journal entry that I made, I was getting so annoyed and angry at myself for not being able to commit to one path. I've studied so many different religions. I've studied so many different facts, from Sikhism to Hinduism to Christianity to different forms of Christianity. And I can't make myself stick to one because in all of them, I seem to see that there is a truth. And I guess it's that truth that keeps me on this broader path. When I think about this idea of wholeness and what it is, to me, like I said in the last video, it's all about one thing as you ride this journey, a sense of connection. If you feel connected, in that space of connection, you'll feel whole, silent, and content. If there's one thing that I notice within myself as a person, I'm always chasing the fireworks. I always want something big to be happening in my journey. I don't know if it's an ego trip that I suffer with, but I always need to see this concept of spirituality as a massive trip, as a big firework. But more and more, I'm beginning to learn that it's about the ability to realize that in this space of wholeness, silence, and contentment is where the divine is. The key point that I need all of you to remember is the ability for you to eradicate the idea of where you think you need to be. You have to remember there is a difference between idea and reality. And I know within myself, I always get lost in the idea. In my mind, I create this fantasy of what I think something is supposed to be. And because I create that fantasy, it creates a situation where I create within myself some form of suffering because I'm not where I think I want to be. Here, in this middle bit here, is reality. And most of the time, you're gonna have to teach yourself how to get comfortable with staying in reality, which is the present. And you're gonna have to learn that the space between this and the space between that is usually gonna consist of confusion, feeling lost, worried, upset. If you can learn to position yourself here in the present, in your reality, you will notice that so much of your issues and challenges disappear. If there's one thing I need you all to remember, is even the concept of wholeness is an idea. I called the channel A Path Towards Wholeness, but you even have to let go of the idea of it being a path. and understand that it is something that is attainable the moment you stop putting a type of prescription on what it's meant to be. The deeper point that I'm really trying to make is that in order for you to be able to stop feeling lost, you have to accept where you're at. And in that space of acceptance, everything else happens.